In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast.
I thought it was a battery issue.
No,
Do we got a freshie in there?
Yeah, freshie. Yeah.
We're freshie. Speaking of freshies, should we?
Cheers, friend.
Hey,
Feel like we've been drinking all day.
almost.
Nearly.
We'll check the tape after this.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why are we here?
Well, welcome back to another Pointless Automotive podcast. Frank and Chadwick with you again.
Hi.
Today, I was thinking something fun. We kind of hit on it somewhat before when we've compared automakers, which we do often. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to start this new series called Automotive Grudge Match.
Grudge match.
So we take an automaker and we'll pick a time period, historical time period. Maybe we'll even do certain models versus each other.
Yeah.
And kind of like fight it out, man. Just like
Battle Royale.
And we don't carry any weight in the industry, so it doesn't matter what we say. But
Are you good at claymation?
am I good at claymation?
Yeah. Are you a
Like filming it, or
yeah, like what would you call a
sex
claymation? No. A claymationist? Like I don't know what a person that does claymation
well,
is
it's
called.
stop motion still, right?
It is.
So yeah, stop.
Yeah, it's sort of like a puppeteer. But do you remember Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yes.
On
MTV.
On MTV, which
Yes.
was claymation. Yeah. This is kind of like, I fully expect, as we go through this pointless exercise, which is what we do here,
Absolutely.
I fully expect that those at home, maybe they're playing along. And if they are,
hope
in
so.
their mind, ladies and gentlemen, you should also be pretending there's like a claymation battle, much like Celebrity Deathmatch, with these different manufacturers and various models over the years.
That sounds fantastic. I wish we could have someone put some animation on the video.
We can get on Fiverr. We can pay someone in an underdeveloped nation.
It'll be Celebrity
make this at a
Deathmatch
reasonable-
quality, probably.
I'm okay with that.
Remember Carrot Top being on there a lot? I don't know why
boy.
I'm pulling that one
I
out.
had when I was in, I suppose it was probably middle school. This is like 8th grade or maybe 9th grade, freshman year of high school. I had a Celebrity Deathmatch T-shirt,
That's awesome.
which
That's
is
freaking
kind of
awesome.
cringy. Like it was cool for a minute, and
It
then
wasn't
it was
ironic
cringy,
at that time. It
But
was,
now
like,
it's like
topical.
it's come back, and now it would be, if you had like a fresh, never worn like Celebrity Deathmatch T-shirt, that'd be kind of dope.
That would be cool. Yeah.
That would be cool.
Everything full circle, right? Everything comes
It
back.
is. It does. Yes.
But today I was thinking we go back to the grudgiest of grudge matches. I'm thinking 90s Ford versus 90s Chevy.
Is that where we're starting?
We're starting. That's it. That's it today. That's
We're gonna
our
do the
matchup.
whole. We're gonna okay.
That's
let's
it.
go,
Baby,
Let's
I
go.
took enough notes for 5 of us. So
Oh boy.
that's our matchup, guys. 90s Ford, 90s Chevy.
And so we get the entire decade, yeah?
That's it. Yeah, all the way.
Okay, so 1990
All the way,
to
baby.
1999.
Yes.
And boy, that's an important, just 99 in those manufacturers alone is a very important date, as is 90.
Big year. 90 was massive too.
90 was massive, yeah. I mean, should we just straight up start off with your newest purchase?
You want
And
to?
if you've listened, I think we should just start there, because that's a nice, thunderous, you know, when you build a house, you want to build a nice, strong foundation.
Sure.
And not only was that a car that had a potentially strong foundation in and of itself, that's a good way to start, I think, our conversation and the decade.
I like it.
The ZR1.
The Corvette ZR1, C4 generation Corvette,
How
introduced
does it
in
feel?
1990, so it fits
is.
perfectly.
It's right there, and you are part of the. You're part of the crew. You're part of the. You're part of the
Officially.
C4 gang. You're a
Yeah.
Corvette guy now.
Yeah, dude. Got my jorts on, got my Hawaiian shirt, got my folding chair for car meet.
Is dude what you should have said? Or should it be like buddy, or like I don't know what's
Hey,
the
pal.
pal chief.
Pal's good. Yeah,
Got a
chief,
chief
boss,
in there.
Hoss.
Exactly. Kid.
Hoss. What's up, Hoss?
Yeah. Us. That's a good one.
So
What
here's-
about that car?
So what's the? I mean, what about it? It's a supercar for sure. Fastest production car of its day, I believe. King of the Hill.
think. What was the whole like rub on that? Was like technically, the 911
adjust.
Turbo at the time was faster 0 to 60, but if it was on a roll, the 01 would absolutely roast it.
destroyed it. That's when that's when all the magazine 0 to 60 tests changed to actually rolling 5 to 60 tests.
Yeah,
It officially changed the whole market. But that makes sense, so you don't like destroy your drivetrain every time you're test driving.
I mean, that's not that's you don't actually do like a full like hyper aggressive
clutch dump.
like cold clutch dump like to
Cold-
launch whenever
cold
you're
engine
when
clutch
you're
dump.
trying to like merge onto the freeway. Like
That's how I
that's not
start
how
my
you
car.
drive your car.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a better test, but
I like it. Yeah, it's a good stress test. But that car was something different. 375 horsepower. Didn't have a pushrod V8, which was like every Chevy except for the C8 had a
yeah,
pushrod.
I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously, it's
Lotus
the only
designed.
up until now with the new car. It's the only twin cam overhead
cam. Yeah, not push
Corvette
roddy.
ever.
Not push roddy. But so here's the funny thing in our grudge matches. So
Yeah.
Chevy had the Corvette ZR1.
Yes.
What did Ford have? I want you to shoot from the hip, Frank. In 90s Ford, what do you have? That
90s or 1990? Because if it's 90s,
90s. We got the whole 90s.
Okay.
Bring
So
whatever you want to the Well, to
the
be
good
fair, the
news is-
ZR1 did go to 405 horsepower.
It did.
A few years down the line. So
It
we
did,
can
and so-
compare with that.
And so, the good news is, it's funny, we were just talking about, like, okay, wow, twin cam V8, it's the only one that Chevrolet ever put into the sports car up until they went mid-engine, and now the new one, and it's just like, yeah, but even the same decade, you had a twin cam in the Cobra. You had the twin cam V8, this is the Ford modular with the twin cam V8, 305 horsepower, as they told us anyways.
Right.
And that was in the, I always mess up, is it the SN95? The name of the chassis?
The SN95?
My brain
That would be
never always mixes it
1995.
up.
Yeah.
That was in 95 and later, although they got that, I believe, in 96 or 97. And of course, it was famously, Ford kind of got called out because people bought them and they dynoed them. And they're like,
it was a little Russ.
"Bro, you're saying this ain't the 305 that you told us."
Right.
I still really like that car, though.
So that in
what an
95,
undervalued car.
they're valuable now though.
They're not that valuable.
Oh, you're talking about just the base Cobra.
The standard Cobra, not a Cobra R.
So the Cobra R.
Cobra R is
was the probably the closest thing to
big
compete with the
car.
ZR1, right? It had the 300 horsepower, 365 foot-pounds of torque, but it also had all the handling tweaks. Had a really well done IRS, so it had a real rear suspension in it. And
Did
it
that
could
have like
hang.
a rear? That had like the rear seat delete and like a crossbar.
I think you could get it
or
like
was it
that. I remember
option?
the
It was like a
spoiler.
track edition or
Yeah, they
something.
had a rear spoiler. The body looked like a
honking.
drag car. It had like a big inflated hood. It had the 5.4 out of the F-150. Am I right on that one? Or am I mixing up the later
that
ones?
was
I might be mixing that up with the. I don't think I am. I don't think I am.
that was the. I think that
Am I
was the
thinking of the
new Edge.
2000?
I think that was the new
So
Edge.
that was the 2000 that had the 5.4.
Yeah.
So
That
this
was
had
the
the
new
5
Edge.
liter kind of like done up, like like I said, 300 horsepower, but it did not touch the ZR1.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. That was Ford's fastest car in the 90s, production car, and it just did not hold a torch. So I'm gonna give Chevy the win in that one. For full out performance car, I think Chevy won. And then you had like in what 2004
Boy,
or
'cause
5,
what else
Ford
did
had
you
the
have?
GT.
Yeah, you went GT.
That
Yeah,
took a
you went
while.
later.
Yeah.
You had the GT.
There's
The
nothing
thing with. You know what they did win though with really cool cars that pure sports cars that never actually made it to freaking production.
concept cars.
The Ford GT90 is maybe the single
it's cool.
coolest.
So cool.
I mean, there's a lot of cool '90s cars. You had like the Dodge Copperhead and stuff like that, but like
Right.
the GT90, it was so cool. It never
Is it the Buick Wildcat?
There's a Buick
Remember
Wildcat,
that
but,
guy?
but the GT9. What video was it? Need for Speed 2 that you can get the GT90 in?
Can you? No
I think so.
way.
Yeah, there was a video game where you can get the GT90. I want to say it was Need for Speed 2, maybe Need for Speed 3.
That's pretty cool.
That was a really cool. But yeah, I think just straight up like Halo performance car.
Got to
That-
give it to Chevy.
But boy, like not to stay out of the 90s, but boy did did Ford make up for it later with the 2 generations of Ford GT.
Right.
Which the newest one,
It's insane.
Yeah, it's a rocket ship. It's a tried and true. It's almost like an LM car. Like it's it's really cool. But yeah, if we're sticking, in which we are, in the 90s, I would say that for pure performance, the Halo performance car, yeah, you kind of got to tip the cap towards Chevy's direction.
But let's keep it in the ballpark. Let's
Yes.
say pony car, sports car, kind of muscle car. Camaro versus Mustang is a grudge match within this grudge match that I think we need to talk about. And how do you feel about 90s
honestly,
Mustang
here's the
versus
thing.
Camaro?
Honestly, when you look at the image that people hold of both of those companies in that era,
Yes.
and you look at number of vehicles sold, and therefore amount of impact that this segment has compared to like the quote unquote Halo car, right? Or whether it's a Cobra R or a ZR1.
Camaros and Mustangs.
Those were not sold in like what they sell C401s like 6,900 or something like that.
total, maybe.
Total,
Yeah.
through the entire run.
The first 2 years were decent numbers, and then after that it was like 300 a year or something
and
like that.
certainly less Cobra R's, maybe less Cobras, probably not less Cobras.
Cobra R's were like 300.
Cobra R's, yes,
Yeah.
but like Cobras, But what I'm getting at is, it's what's more impactful, the fact that as a Halo car, or the cars that they actually sold?
No.
The cars that they actually sold were the Chevy Camaro
Ford Mustang.
and the Ford Mustang.
Yep. Big
And if you have to set both of those side by side, both of those cars had an incredibly good decade. Because at the beginning of the decade, you had the traditional Fox body Mustang,
Yes.
which was at the height of its powers in like 1990 and on. So, there's debate. Oh, I like the pre-facelift.
I'll take a Fox body over an SN95 personally.
Probably. The SN90, yeah, I would say yeah, but the SN95 I think is undervalued right now.
100%.
In period, the SN95 was fine. Boy, see, it's funny, when we first started bouncing this off around in my head, I was like, oh, well, it's the Mustang. But now that I think more about it, I would say the Fox body is certainly more appealing than the third gen Camaro, right? The third gen, that's the early F
The
body.
Catfish.
Yeah, that's the quote unquote IROC style Camaro. However, that fourth gen Camaro, I think has aged incredibly well. Well, the design has aged incredibly well. The cars themselves, I might have started falling apart.
No,
they probably have not aged all that
guaranteed
well.
they have fallen apart.
I would say,
Oh boy.
you know what it's like? This is like saying, what's your favorite Beetle? And I don't mean Volkswagen.
It's kind of fair. That's a fair question.
Like you would say, like, well, early Paul, late John.
Yoko.
Number 9.
Those are 5.
Number 9. What was that? Didn't she have
That was The
some? Didn't she
Simpsons.
have some track?
Wait, wasn't there a Simpsons one where someone was doing that and Barney burped every time? And that
Exactly.
Was the track?
Yeah. And this is like She came into Moe's Tavern and like asked for like a bowler hat filled with women's perfume
Oh, it
with
was
an apple
ridiculous,
floating in it or something.
And he
he's
had
like,
it.
There you go. However, what I'm getting at is I think the early part of the decade, early 90s, I think Mustang gets the nod.
Okay.
In the later part, as much as I actually think the SN95 is underappreciated, I think that 93 and up Camaro, the later F body, which then you had at the end of that run you had the LS1.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
You can get with a 6-speed and a
Sweet
cool hood
engine.
scoop.
Yeah.
And all the things versus you had the Cobra Camaro, which was like slightly over fluffed as far as its power and all that. You set those cars side by side, and as much as I like the Cobra, and I think it's a better buy right now, as a better car and in period, I think the Camaro had the more years of being the superior car.
Yeah.
So I almost just on that front have to give it the Chevy. However, the WS6 and stuff, but
we're
the
only
Firebird.
doing.
I know, but the
We're
Firebird's
only
a better
doing
car.
Chevy. I know. I
The
agree.
Firebird's a better car.
But given muscle cars and the sports cars like the ZR1 conversation,
Yeah.
I give Chevy the win.
I think so.
Also, overall on this.
Can I come at you with one?
Absolutely.
So we're talking all the fun stuff, right?
Sure.
So you've got like the Halo car and like this 2-seater sports car and like the fancy Mustang
don't you
and
come
the
in-
regular Mustang.
Econoboxes? Is that what you're doing?
Well, I'm gonna go right down the middle. What about just regular old family mid-size to full-size sedans?
Okay.
Like, who came up with the better product there? Because I think, again, if we're talking of impact to a brand, you can look at it like, well, this one had the better, more fun car, so all the car guys need to say that this is a better manufacturer, and this manufacturer had the better decade, but the lion's share of cars sold, then enjoyed by the populace, were not those cars.
Sure, and we're
Was
using
it a
unqualified opinions. Which,
was it a Chevy Corsica? Was it a Caprice?
Oh.
Was it a Torres?
Grand Marquis.
Was it a exactly. There's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different ways that you can go there. So what do you think on that front when we're talking
90s? So the Taurus was still like, I made a comment about the Taurus SHO. Of course I did.
Sure.
Because you could still get a manual in the early ones in the
Yeah.
90s. So that's in there. It's going to be one of my parting shots. But that's a tough one, man. I think the Taurus sold very well in that period. Everybody knows Taurus saved Ford, in the mid to late 80s.
You gonna be a Chevy celebrity truther here? You can be like, I think that was 80s, but
Yeah, I think Ford gets the nod too because they had the Taurus. They had before the end of the 90s. What did we have? We had Contours.
We had Contours,
we had the
yeah.
Econoboxes, which were sold. Actually, we joke about them.
I want to save on the Econobox.
Okay,
I just want to go like
fair enough.
Your 4-door family people movers
Right.
because the Econobox I think is a different deal. The economy segment, but yeah, like because you had
gotta
Taurus,
give it to
you had
the Taurus.
Contour. What did you have from Chevrolet? So you had the Lumina.
The Lumina, which was Lumina. You had
You had the Corsica early.
Corsica. The 2-door version was the Beretta.
Correct.
You had.
What were
a
the
bunch
full
of stuff.
sizes? So you had the Caprice. Ford, you had the Crown Vic.
Crown Vic.
Which I think that right there.
Jeez,
if you go full size,
shut the door right there.
Yeah,
Right?
like
That's
that,
a conversation.
It's an absolute stalwart in that period of
Yeah.
Ford. As much as I like a police pursuit package,
Chevy had the
Caprice.
Impala. The
They did have
came
the
back pretty
Impala, which
strong.
was a tarted up Caprice.
right.
With the LT1 in it, a cool car.
But then they had the regular Impala in the late 90s. And they
Correct.
sold a ton of volume on that
They
car.
did,
Those cars
yeah.
were everywhere.
Those
Remember
were
you could get the
and
light
they are-
blockers to have like a GT R34 GTR?
Yeah, that was
kind of
the
thing.
Impala package. Like that was
Yeah, ridiculous.
Malibu came out in 98, I think. 98, 99.
Which was a Grand Am, right? Is the
Which
exact same thing
was-
as a Pontiac Grand Am.
I think mechanically, yes. The whole sheet metal and everything was all different.
Which was an Oldsmobile Alero.
Didn't that win like
Oh god.
I want to say that won like Motor Trend Car of the Year or something.
With the
like that.
3.1.
Yeah, the
V6 in
3.1
it.
head gasket munching, just disaster of a car, and just truly. Have you ever sat in one of those anytime
Oh,
recently?
yeah. Not recently, but back when they were
I have
out.
recently, and they
Feels cheap.
borderline appalling. I
Yeah,
mean, they're
that's scary.
They are bad. They're like almost Chevy Aveo bad. So yeah, I agree. I brought that up in a way. I felt like we needed to give a nod to Ford, and I think
Ford's
that's
taken this one.
inarguably. I think when it came to the mid-size and full size, and even like the mid-size, full size ish, full size plus sedans,
Yeah, I'm with you. I think
think
Ford
you gotta
gets the
go.
win on that one.
you got to go Ford. Yeah,
So we got a Chevy and a Ford win. How about this one, buddy? So trucks.
I think this is gonna be the
This
hardest.
is gonna be the hardest. So we're gonna start off with pure utility pickups.
Yeah.
We got the F-150 versus the Silverado, right? It has to be the matchup.
Yeah, I mean
for
that's
full size,
like
for-
that's the standard bearer, right?
Yeah.
Is the F-150 versus the let's say 50 or let's say F series.
Well, you know what I did to save us time,
250.
Frank?
Oh.
I wrote "Who cares" on my notes.
You can't write who cares.
I wrote "Who cares" because we're gonna talk about Blazer versus Bronco. Something we're more passionate about, I think.
That's fair, but we got to come back to that
We'll
because there's some special nuggets in there, right?
F-150 wins.
See,
Original Lightning.
I'm going GT.
Oh, and actually,
but that's what I
the
was going to
supercharged
get.
Lightning was in there too.
Yes,
Oh, F-150 wins. Okay.
end run, yes, but early the GMT 400 trucks, I think tried and
they're
true
nice.
is a better product. The problem is by the time you got to the end of the line, like 90, 98, 99, 2000, in the 1500 they did introduce the GMT 800, which is a great truck.
Sure.
Damn it, I'm going against your grain. You starting the F series, I don't think that's it.
F-150 had that. The
The
5.4
Lightning is a
Triton.
better car.
The 5.4 Triton was kind of garbage.
Yeah, it's still shooting
actually
spark
garbage.
plugs out of the
course it
cylinders
is.
and through the head.
That's reliability.
Yep.
We're not talking about that. No,
All
the
right,
Lightning
you-
was cool.
I think the Lightning,
like the first
of
gen
those
Lightning,
two,
too.
first gen Lightning's cool. They had the good colors, you know. First gen Lightning. You know what rages me out?
Oh,
You know what grinds my gears?
steroids.
Yeah, yeah. You can tell, right? I'm just taking them and sitting on my couch. The
Halfway there, baby.
yeah, let's go. So, what rages me out is Ford decided to get cute. Everyone else on the planet, and every manufacturer on the planet, if you have two different styles of a bed, right? You have a
Yes.
step side,
Sure.
and you have a fleet side, and that's what everyone knows. It's what it is, but not Ford. Oh no. What do you have? Do you remember what they're called? What they call their step side and their fleet side?
Did they have the flare side, or is that
Yes.
something? Yeah.
So the flare side is what
An
they called
in-betweeny?
their step side.
yeah.
Do you know what they called their regular fleet side?
What did they call that?
A style side.
That's right.
So they're like, wait, which was the style side? It's confusing.
Flare
and
side,
it's annoying.
what?
Flare side. Yeah, and you get the packaging of the flare side.
Oh, the Ranger Splash
graphics.
was cool though.
Ranger Splash is cool. Okay, can you let before
I said it.
you know what? Okay, you go. You wanted
Bronco
to,
versus
you wanted to
Blazer.
go Bronco Blazer.
So we had the Bronco 2, which tip over test be damned.
Yeah, no, give me that narrow body, baby.
What do you think, Frank? Because these are 4x4 icons, actually, and now they're both enjoying.
But probably not. I mean, yes, in era, but if you think about like the most iconic of those makes, it's not in the 90s.
It's not, but they were still very hot sellers, still very popular. Utes or utility SUVs from that period are still hot, and they're seeing a resurgence, especially like the K5 Blazers, the older Broncos, even from the 90s. So, what do you pick from that camp? What do you think's the better? The better you're going to do a resto mod, or you're going to bring one back?
And I'm just going to talk about both full size offerings for now.
Yeah, because the S10 Blazer is clearly the best.
There was, sure, of course, because you had the S10 Blazer, and then you also had the Bronco 2, which lasted for like an hour. Was there a 90? Or did it? I think it ended with the Explorer.
Let me ask the internet. The Explorer didn't come out until like 92. Am I right on that year?
I thought it was 90 or 91. You might be right. Either way, let's just, while you search up these hard-hitting facts that don't care about your feelings, I'm going to
Bronco 2 went to 1990.
It did 90. Okay, so it snuck in. So Bronco, tiny Bronco versus tiny Blazer. We'll just touch on this real quick. You got to go the S10 series Blazer, mostly because it actually existed in the decade, versus the Bronco 2 had a cup of coffee and then fell on its sword to make way for the.
That's damn close. Ford Explorer, 1991.
It is 90. Okay. So yeah, out with the Bronco 2, in with the Explorer. So if we're just going, let's just stick to the script with the full size cars. The Bronco went until 96, I think.
I believe that's right.
It got a facelift in, I believe, 92 or 93 when it had the more roundy.
Yeah, because they were still boxy in the early 90s for sure.
And then you had the Blazer in the early part of the decade. You had the old school square body style with the removable top. And then in 91, 92, you went to the GMT 400 with the non-removable top.
That's right.
Which I think is like my sneaky favorite of the group.
Wow.
But it certainly isn't the most iconic. And in time and in period, it probably, just because it's my favorite doesn't mean it's the better thing, right? Like, I think the 90s Bronco, partially because of O.J. Simpson and Al Cowlings, is the ultimate 90s power player.
That's pretty cool.
I remember there was like, right after that happened, I remember there was like local car dealership in the news that made it. If you ordered a new Bronco, it came free with AC for Al Cowlings and OJ. And so they included air conditioning and a jug of orange juice when you brought the Bronco.
Love it.
Yep. So I think Bronco, but I do think still underappreciated, even though the values are up, are on that two-door Tahoe. Early they called it the Blazer. That became the Yukon GT if you went GMC version.
That's right.
Yep. So yeah, I'm gonna go Bronco. I think Bronco gets this one.
Okay, but you said Silverado so overall truck.
But Silverado, yeah.
See, I gave it a draw as well because I gave it to Ford for the pickups and Chevy for the.
See, and I flipped that.
Yeah, you did.
I flipped that script
because I think the K5 Blazer was super cool looking, really spacious, cool design. Still looks awesome and menacing today.
How about this?
And the S10 Blazer is the best.
S10 Blazer is superior. But what about?
Oh.
Have you considered the Silverado SS versus the first gen Lightning?
That's a tough one.
It is. The Lightning, you got great, brilliant, bright colors.
Great. Yeah, great.
The Silverado SS, black.
Yeah, only color black.
You can have any color so long as it's black. Thank you, Henry Ford.
I still like the Lightning. I think I love the design of the original Lightning.
I think you're right.
It's got that cladding, which I love. It's like it looks pretty. It looks like a regular F-150 with a little spice to it.
Spice of
just
life.
right, just right.
No, Dodge can't get in this game, unfortunately.
No, they're not in
the
this
Ram
one.
SR or the Durango SRT,
the RT10 or whatever the. I think that was the end of the 90s.
Yeah, that was 2000s. That was like 2004, 5, 6.
So I give a draw there for trucks. Had to do it, man. They both.
But that's the thing, though. Okay, you know what we're completely skipping though, is we briefly touched on it. What about Ranger versus S10?
That's a tough one.
Because that might be should that be the tiebreaker? I think
Ford
that's our
fucking
tiebreaker.
Ranger.
I think it has to be Ford with the Ranger. I think it has to be. I mean, the S10 was
Boy,
good
the
until
S10 sold well though.
They sold well. Do you remember the S10 Extreme? Although I think that started like 2000.
That was the early 2000s.
But it was that same.
Of course, yeah.
It was that same like 93 facelift.
Lower down body kit. Mm-hmm. Was it step side? It was a step side, wasn't it?
Yeah, they actually called it a step side.
Yeah, right.
Actually, not a flare side. But yeah, but like with the. I think I got to give it to the Ranger. That Ranger went. That basically 90s Ranger. They sold that to what? 2013?
They made a firebolt.
2011?
They made a firebolt, like a performance Ranger.
Sort of.
Oh, I mean, as far as Ranger performance went, it was it. You could get the Splash, which was amazing graphics. Yeah, I gotta give it to the Ranger.
Is that the tiebreaker then on the truck category?
Is it? Oh,
I think
boy,
it's gotta be.
Dude. Yeah, screw it. Yeah, I guess Ford took it.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Econobox?
You know I have a lot of thoughts about
That's why I brought it
Econoboxes.
up, my friend. They call that a leading question.
How much time do you have? So here's how
approximately 30 minutes.
I think we have to fight it out with the two turds of the Econobox. Where
we going bottom tier?
Cavalier versus Escort.
Cavalier versus
It's
Escort.
That's
I mean,
it.
it's kind of. I want to say it's an easy answer.
You think so?
I think it's Escort.
Unequivocal base model crap for both of those.
Sure, but I think I go
both
Escort.
base models.
Go Escort LX or whatever.
Yeah.
The 1.9 liter. You got the good colors. You got
Well, the Chevy had the 2 liter with 115 horsepower.
was that the Iron Duke or was that like an Iron
Some
Duke derivative?
Yeah.
I mean, those early Cavaliers were just absolutely atrocious. And even end run, unless it's a Toyota Cavalier. If you bought a JDM,
Escorts were like cracking 70-something horsepower.
they were, but I still think they were put together better, and I think they look better. That, other than the Z24?
Okay, whoa, easy guy. You're getting outside of the regular Econobox world. We're going to go spicy Econobox, which is my stomping ground.
Okay, so base model, I think it's easily Escort.
I think so too. I think they're both bad.
Yeah.
There's neither one of those. If you can find a base of any of these, they're actually super hard to find now. For good reason.
And you know what? Here's why Chevy's biggest problem is this. Let's say you're going to get like the base model Cavalier. Okay. You know what's more interesting and cooler 100 times out of 100? A Sunfire. It's still crap, but at least it's like weirder looking and like...
True.
Yeah.
Sunfires
you can still get the
didn't come out till a
trash
little
3-speed
later,
auto.
though. They had the Sunbird.
They had the Sunbird, yeah, and then like the more roundy generation, which I came out in was that 95?
Oh yeah, Cavaliers ran a lot longer. So did Escorts though. The Escort ZX2 ran into the 2000s. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah,
but we're just doing 90s here, so it doesn't.
We're
exist.
90s here, and but that's what's working against it. Is like all of these things. It's like, well, there's another offering from another manufacturer under the same GN umbrella, and it's like, just buy that one.
Yeah, they built more excitement into it.
That's true. That's true. That's what they built.
But if we're gonna do spicy Econoboxes, my friend,
B-ball.
We got to pit Escort GT versus Cavalier Z24. In this matchup, it's the only fair way to do it, man.
It's the only. I don't know.
What do you go with?
Because I was gonna say you could have gone even spicier. You know what's funny? You could have gone shittier Econobox, and you could have gone spicier meatball.
But these were the market holders. These were their bread and butter.
You don't want to go Festiva?
No,
Ford Aspire
or Geo Metro.
Not the Firefly. Firefly was like the Pontiac Firefly. Geo Metro, all that Prism wins. But
so Escort GT or Cavalier Z24?
Here, let me admit something. I've never actually driven either of these cars. I want to say Escort GT. I think it's the better car, although that Z24 had those weird like waffle print,
super cool,
like alloy wheel cover situation thing. It was just like an alloy wheel, but with a cladding over the top. And then you had the cool graphics, like they had like the splash graphic and two-tone. In my brain, I'm picturing it black over silver two-tone.
Silver and blue is my favorite, like this.
Oh yeah, like the medium. Blue. Yeah, like the medium.
My really good friend Mike, growing up, shout out to Mike. He had a 5-speed manual.
Is his last name Hunt?
Laterno. So it's very, very Mainish. Big shout out there.
Or Hawk. Mike. Yeah, Hawk.
Mike Hawk.
Yeah,
that's a bold move. He drives a Camaro though. Mike Hawk.
Oh, is it
definitely drives a
bitchin'?
Camaro.
Yeah, it's bitchin'.
So he had a Z24 5-speed manual with that 2.8 V6. So that's the other thing. Z24, you do get a V6, but the thing you need to know about the Escort GT, especially after 1990? God, I'm gonna fuck this up. The Mazda built ones.
Yeah.
It's a Mazda. It's a 323 Protege. So
I want to say in like 1990.
yeah. So like comparative, way better car.
Yeah, and that was good for 126.
127.
127.
Out of that 1.8 Mazda BP engine. That
That's-
also
which is
appears to be- it is a Mazda, so the powertrain's really good, drivetrain's
Sure,
good.
yep.
Mazda transmission. I would love to find a Z24 Cavalier, like you said, with the waffle wheels, with the two-tone paint, but they just don't exist. They're just
You know what though?
they're super rare. I mean, I know they exist.
If you're one to take the top off, you could get that in a convertible.
I
You
know.
could not get that in the Escort.
True, that is very
That's
true.
a little nugget.
And there's not many Escort GTs floating around. Those are getting super rare.
Yeah, they've all returned to the earth.
So I gave the win Ford on that one.
I agree.
I kind of feel like
I
that's
think Escort.
because the Mazda partnership with Ford in the '90s
Yeah.
was a very beneficial partnership.
It was.
for
I mean,
Ford.
that was the 5-speed transmission that ended up in the SHO because that's just what they needed to do.
Ford Probe came out of that too.
Ooh, so Ford. What's the? Is there any true Chevy?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like-
Monte Carlo.
No, that's. Monte Carlo was.
I think I nailed it, dude. Big two-door coupe.
Probe wasn't big though.
V6.
Probe wasn't big.
Well,
They had two different missions. You know.
Comparatively, compared to an Escort, it's a midsize.
Sure, but the Probe actually had sporting pretenses. Like,
Well, then the
They just-
Beretta or something to that effect.
yeah, I
right?
guess.
You
Yeah,
think
like
so?
a Beretta GT.
Smaller.
Because you had Beretta GT.
Which one had the Z34?
You can get a
Z34
quad.
was the Lumina. You could get a
GTZ, Beretta GTZ. You can get
Was
the
cool.
Quad 4, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Did I
Quad 4, the equalizer.
I got to call timeout real quick.
Yeah.
They did exist in California. Somebody just sold what was it? A Grand Am, 1980 something with the I can't remember, what was the displacement, 2.3 or
I think it's a
2.4?
2.3 or 2.4. I think it is 2.3.
So it had a quad 4 engine and it sold for like $4,000.
What are we doing?
I
Manual?
know, I got yes.
Because you can get because most of them were automatic.
Or was it an automatic? It could have been an automatic. Either way.
Yeah.
Like I really missed the ball. So they exist, but I confirmed that they do exist.
exist.
And they can be like registered and
They do
small.
move in herds.
So I'm gonna keep looking every
Yeah.
day of my life.
Oh, all day, every day.
Quad
Can't stop,
four,
won't stop.
quad 4 squad.
Put some Nexons on it.
Yeah, oh god.
Yeah.
No limit.
no limit soldiers. So, yeah, the Probe, because the Probe's was the Mazda MX-6.
Yeah. Let the Mustang sweat for a little bit when that probe came out.
It did. It was getting the Mustang was about to get probed. But yeah, so interesting. Well, what about?
Oh boy.
Here's one you probably don't even have on there at all.
Oh, challenge accepted.
Minivans.
You're gonna.
Minivan.
I know what your argument's gonna be. The Dustbuster is the best.
No,
What?
not at all, sir.
Get out of here.
Not at
Let's hear
all.
it. Let's hear it.
So what's interesting is the beginning part of both of these of the decades were both these manufacturers kind of split ideas as far as what a minivan can do, right, or should do. So you had from Chevy, yes, you had the Dustbuster, which was the Lumina MPV.
Weird they kept use that same name. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, the Lumina multi-purpose vehicle, I assume.
Because
not
Lumina
the-
was such an identifiable name.
No, yeah, it's not the most penetrable vehicle or the
You could penetrate in it.
yeah, I mean the seats. You can remove the rear seats and stuff, and turn it into a shaggin' wagon, if you will, or a stabbing cabin on wheels. But so they had that, right? But then at the same time they also had the Astro.
Yes.
Okay, so you had the Astro, which you had longer and shorter ones, and you had cargo and people carrying capacity, and it was on a full frame versus unibody with
That's
the Dustbuster. And they had 4-wheel drive and all-wheel drive versus you didn't in a
Well,
Dustbuster.
Ford had the Econoline, right?
Well, that was a full-size van though,
True,
because you also had like on the Chevy side you had like the G series, right? The G1500, G2500, all that.
That's right.
However, Ford kind of did the same thing. So Ford, you had the we'll need to. I don't know. Will we get copyright struck if I play a song?
Definitely.
But it's like I guarantee it's a song that like nobody knows or has. Anyways, Those playing along at home, look up the song Ford Windstar by Wesley Willis. First off, you're welcome. Secondly, it was a van so good because that came in the that was like mid 90s. I want to say 96.
You're talking about the Wesley Willis
the Ford
fiasco?
Windstar?
Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
So rock and roll McDonald's.
Yes, he did Ford Windstar.
This is why we do this podcast together, Frank, because we just know each other's obscure references.
Exactly. He, that guy got signed to Epitaph off the streets of Chicago as a homeless.
Do you remember how he used to put his head to other people's heads and bark to get the bad spirits?
Yes. A very interesting gentleman. There's got to be there's a documentary on him, right? The
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
So, the Ford Windstar was the unibody kind of like
McDonald's.
Yeah. And guess how Ford Windstar goes? Ford Windstar.
That makes sense.
Ford Windstar, and like a MIDI keyboard like auto playing in the background. And so you had the Ford Windstar, which was comparable to the Dustbuster, if not as iconic.
Direct
shaped. It was way like roundier and had that 90s like. That late 90s Taurus, like catfish bubble vibe.
Did it become the Aerostar?
No, my friend.
Separate.
That's what I'm getting at. The Aerostar was before.
How do you know so much?
And they overspliced a little bit. And the Aerostar, just like the Astrovan, was a body-on-frame offering. It was loosely based on the Ranger platform.
Okay.
So it was body-on-frame. It used the same motor transmission. You could also get that in four-wheel drive. Although they're impossibly rare.
That sounds really rare, yeah.
So they both took the same kind of approach, which is this weird double-headed, calm down, double-headed, like, approach of, like, body on frame, like truck base, and then a knot. What do you think? What do you think is the best of those offerings? Who's the better standard bearer?
God, the Dustbusters are so cool looking.
I still think the best one to that era from these manufacturers is Astro. I think the Chevy Astro.
Probably, yeah.
Boy, they used to see a ton of them.
But all
the 4.3 V6.
This was it. This was the dawn. Obviously, the Caravan, right? But the dawn of minivans. 90s minivans were pretty hot. Like it was a hot time for minivans.
Yeah, because like every manufacturer was kind of scrambling to come up with a solution to the quote unquote Caravan problem.
Right.
Right. So yeah, I think the Astro was the star of that. No Windstar or Aerostar, pun intended. But yeah, I think that's the best one. Because even Toyota was confused. They had like the Previa, which they pulled over. It was a JDM. That
Mazda had the MPV, which was super
the
cool.
The OG MPV is
pretty.
When's the last time you've seen one of those?
You still see them though.
I haven't seen one in probably a decade.
I've seen a couple.
I want a super clean one. I had a buddy who had one
So
when I was in middle school, and we went paintballing. And we went out to this field that's not there anymore in Mare Island. And it was like, it had rained like a lot the week before. And it was like, there's this big mud puddle. Like, people can't get into the parking lot. He's like, I got this. And it's MPV. And he the push button 4-wheel drive. And we just forded the river, like Oregon Trail.
So cool.
Nobody died of dysentery.
I was going to ask.
Landed. Yeah, exactly.
Who was the banker?
I got cholera.
Always pick banker, right?
I got cholera, though. Yeah. I bought 99 boxes of bullets and no food, 20 oxen. Grueling pace. Let's get after this
nothing but
bitch.
Squirrels.
Exactly, yeah. You shot 8,200 pounds of food. We can only bring back with 120 pounds. Yeah,
one bag of jerky.
Exactly. Squirrel jerky though, underrated.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, I think I'm giving the nod to Chevrolet in the minivan category.
I'll see that. Yeah.
Okay. What else you got over there?
Your knowledge of vans is a little frightening.
It's okay. I have a problem.
Look, I know turd boxes. You know vans. We got it covered, man.
Look out! I
had a couple parting shots here because we're getting pretty deep here.
Yeah. Balls.
The fucking Ford Taurus show.
I mean,
I literally just wrote that.
Well, sure.
My notes.
But here's the thing. That's all you need to write, because what was the competition?
There's no fucking answer.
There wasn't.
There was zero answer. You had a 7,000 RPM Yamaha V6 in Grandpa's sedan.
The Impala SS, the full body on frame Impala SS, was the closest competitor, and they're very different.
6 years later.
And they're very different cars.
Very different.
Yeah.
You could get a manual with the show. They only
Not only could you have, you should have.
You didn't have an option. You bought a first couple years show.
I think just 89. I think.
No, I think the 92. I think 2 years.
2 years. Okay. Either way.
Potentially 3.
Either way.
Only came with a row your own manual gearbox.
As the good Lord intended.
That's all I wrote. I wrote the fucking Ford Taurus show because it had no competition and it came out of nowhere. What a damn cool car.
Well, honestly, that's kind of like the C4 and an end-run C5 Corvette.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Like there was no true competition. And
But
some
Everyday
Ford
Joe-
fanboys will get in and be like, well, they had the limited production this or that, or did you
this
know
Mustang
that?
variant? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and it's not the same. It's just like, oh yeah, it looks like you had a limited production Camaro.
But the Corvette was a sports car. The show was a 4-door.
Right. But
sedan.
there was no, like, much like there was no answer to the Corvette from Ford, there was no answer from Chevy to the show. There just wasn't.
Sure. So I give Ford big props for that. Another parting shot. Chevy ruined Saab in the 90s. They really put a fork in that.
They
dude.
really buried them in the 2000s.
So I put that as a check against Chevy. Like, that made me upset.
Well, what about Ford taking over Jaguar
I mean, not as bad as Chevy ruining Saab for me,
and
personally.
Volvo?
True.
Here's the thing, though. Both of those manufacturers still exist. Saab does not.
Yeah, but how much did that suck? What if... I mean, I know Saab probably would have died earlier, but with more dignity, I believe.
Yeah, they would have fallen on their Swedish sword.
Oh, is that a Swedish sword I picture with some meatballs?
I picture it
Somewhere
literally
on there.
crafted purely from meat.
A meatball sword.
That or like some kind of like pickled swordfish. It was like, ugh.
Or it's a sword where you have to put it together with an Allen key.
Definitely, and there's just like there's instructions, and it just has a picture of some like poorly animated guy shrugging with like
Yeah.
holding a phone, like
Question mark. The other parting shot I had was Ford partnered with Mazda in the 90s. And this can't be stressed enough because it like went both ways, right? Mazda's reliability bled into Ford products. Ford added some like ingenuity to Mazda, which was struggling kind of at the time.
Right.
So it was like it was actually a good partnership.
Can I trouble you with a Chevy Prism?
Oh boy. Is it an LSI or that was the top of the trim, and then there was the GSI, which was
That was the
basically
hot twin
Toyota
can, yeah.
Corolla.
But that was still
4AGE.
Geo. I think that was still Geo. That was long gone by the time it was just Sprint when they killed off
Yeah, it was
Geo, because that was very, very end of the decade.
because they had the Chevy Metro too, which for some
Chevy
reason, and
Metro,
the Chevy,
Chevy Tracker, yep.
They all lose like to me if it doesn't have a Geo badge, I don't care about those.
I want
cars.
that weird globe with the Chevy bow tie. It's
It's
like
so
the,
weird.
literally the Chevy bow tie was on all of those cars anyway, so it shouldn't be like that big of a
We
deal.
can count those
But it
as
is.
Chevy, yeah, for sure.
Chevrolet.
Well, the Storm, I freaking would love to get my hands on a Storm LSI.
How about, you know what? I know they're still out there.
You gonna say a Suzu Impulse?
No,
Oh, for once.
no. You know what about the Shogun?
Oh, if it was real.
They're real. They produced. I don't remember how many hundred. I want to say a couple hundred.
Did they really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
gee,
gonna look
I
at
don't
I'm
have
gonna look
the
at right
other
now. Oh no. Oh gosh. Ford Shogun.
Well, you know they built the Show Ranger, the Ranger Show.
250 units.
That's pretty rare.
Yeah, 250.
Well, they made a Ranger Show one.
They made one
How
of
cool
those.
would that have been with a manual and the Show engine and a Ranger pickup?
I think I'd rather have the Shogun though.
Are you sure? I don't know, man.
I think so.
I think a Ranger
think so.
Show.
I mean, they're both cool.
Yeah, they're very cool cars.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So overall, I think I gave Ford more wins. I think if you're keeping track at home and you want to fact check us,
Fact check us
I
because
think we gave Ford the slight
I
win.
think you did. I think I might have given it enough to Chevy because I was on Chevy for
dare
trucks. I was on Chevy for vans. I was on Chevy for all the performance stuff, but not for the ship box and not for the mid-sized car that no one cares about.
Camaro versus Stang. Did you give it the Chevy? I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. That was a tight,
We'll balance it out.
grudge match. Who wins this grudge match?
Yeah,
Do we
it's
have
a tough.
the
That's
sequel?
why it's a grudge match, right?
You know how we should probably settle this score? We're gonna do this all over again, but we'll talk 80s.
You want to ask the 8-ball? I think the 8-ball should ultimately decide.
It always does, though. Okay. I'll phrase it like this.
Let's hear it.
Chadwick here proposed that Ford won the decade of the 90s versus Chevy. Did Ford win the 1990s? It is decidedly so.
That's a firm answer, my
That's
friend.
quite firm.
Yep.
Just like me.
That's a
So
software
why don't
counts.
we
Wait.
play a game?
Oh, you want to do that?
I would like to play a game. Yes, I'm going to put on my
Let me shut my laptop.
my jigsaw mask here. Boy, I wish they did a Shogun
no.
print ad.
Good lord, no one would get it.
I don't think that has happened.
So we
sadly.
are. Let me get 10 minutes on the clock to start when you finish the ad.
Yes.
Frank is going to go ahead, and what we're doing is our automotive print ad quiz game. I feel like we have to describe this every time, but basically, he's going to find a print ad that ran in a magazine publication in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. He's going to read it, omitting anything that gives it away. I have 3 guesses
You do.
to try to get that vehicle. I can ask for assistance along the way, and I have a 10-minute timer now that we've imposed because sometimes we're not as good as we should be. And then he's going to start reading the ad right about now.
Okay. So this is a 2-pager,
Okay.
my friend. It's a fold out, not a full centerfold,
Oh.
but my Angel is a centerfold. So Our vehicle is clad in white. It's not quite the full front quarter shot, but it's mostly that. But it's most of the side. You get a reasonably decent profile shot.
So half money
of this vehicle, which is clad in white. It looks like it's driving in the rain, which is an interesting touch.
Okay.
And then that takes up the top 2/3 of the ad.
Wow.
The bottom 1/3 is some scripting. Okay. And then it says of blank, the make and model. I don't know what that's of.
Okay, we'll leave it out there. I
And
already have an idea.
I might have to stare at this a little bit because when I zoom in to actually read the script, it's a little
pixel.
And I have
Pixel
not
art.
found a better version than this. So
Gotcha.
just bear with me. So it says, and then it has right in the bottom in the middle of that script, there's a tiny other little window of a picture, and it just has the picture of what appears to be a valve cover.
Whoa.
With some scripting on the valve cover.
Short aside, I miss valve covers.
I know. You don't like
There was- no.
Senor Plastic?
No. Sorry.
Well, then I guess this ad might be for you because it says, there are people for whom a car is much more than a machine designed to simply carry them along the same old route, day in and day out.
Ooh.
People for whom driving is a sport, a passion. They set their alarm clocks half an hour early each morning to afford themselves an opportunity to go hunting for open stretches of road. The weekends mean long drives out to anywhere and nowhere. At blank, we love for people like these. Or, see, again, we live for people like these.
We also love them.
And create automobiles that perform to the highest standards. The most demanding driving enthusiasts. Cars like the blank blank, which is a different car. It's not this. There's another one in their portfolio.
No shit.
As well as its direct technological descendant, the new blank. We equipped the blank with a 2.7 liter double overhead cam, 16 valve aluminum alloy engine. We then added blank, the same variable valve timing and lift system found in the blank, allowing the blank to produce over 94 horsepower per liter, more than any other normally aspirated automobile sold in the United States. The engine thrives where others don't dare to venture, from 6,500 to 8,000 RPM. I'm struggling to read this, but it says, there's no compromise of torque at the low end. All of which is why the blank offers its owner much more than transportation. It also offers its owner guts and soul, and most of all, heart. That is the advertisement, my friend.
God dang, let me get the 10 minutes going here. 2.7.
2.7.
So, obviously, my mind absolutely jumped right to like an Audi S4, or because that 2.7 was pretty popular, the twin turbo, but completely out the window, right? When you said naturally aspirated.
Sure.
Wow.
I don't know if those are 1.7.
2.7. Did you say 2.7?
No, 1.7.
Oh God,
Sorry.
I thought you said 2.
No,
you said
no,
2.7.
no.
I'm pretty sure, 100%.
Okay, we'll go back to the tape, but just in case, this is we equipped the blank with a 2.7 liter double over
2.7.
2.7.
So, obviously, my mind jumped.
Okay, so we equipped the blank with a 1.7 liter
Jeez.
double overhead cam 16 valve aluminum alloy engine.
You said 2.7. 100%.
Okay, well now I'm saying
Thank
1.7.
God. Okay, cool. Wow, that changes everything.
Yes, 1.7 liter
Yes, and you
all
said
alloy.
95 horsepower.
per liter.
So we're at.
So there's some math involved.
Yeah, there's some
At
math.
the
I'm not.
0.7.
I can't be bothered by it. It's going to be like 140, 150 horsepower. Wow. So 1.7, 16 valve, dual overhead cam. Doesn't talk about how it's driven, like front wheel drive, all wheel drive, anything like that.
But they added blank, the same variable valve timing, and lift system found in the blank, which is another vehicle they produce.
Right. 1.7 though.
To produce over 94 horsepower per liter. And a 1.7.
This is a weird engine.
It is a weird engine, and if you're up on your engines,
which I'm not.
I don't know about that, but There's this vehicle, and there's only one other vehicle. Well,
no, Honda ran 1.7s for the longest time.
I'm saying there's one other. Well, there's a couple other vehicles I can think of that's a 1.7. Yes.
Yikes.
Yes, it's an uncommon displacement.
Yeah. I'm really stuck here because I'm not really pegging anything. I wish. With a 1.7 displacement other than Honda, and I know we're not probably running at early 2000s Honda. Boy, oh boy, Frank.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to venture a guess just here. 1.7. I feel like I should know this. This kind of feels obscure to me though.
I feel like you should. I feel like you should know this, and I feel like it is. But I don't know. I don't know if it's mildly obscure.
Dude, 1.7 though. Oh, I can think of his Honda.
I would say it's obscure. It's obscure, but it's not obscure.
You would not come at me with a Honda Civic, but 1.7, bro. God, it's gonna be something weird like an Alfa Romeo or something. Did I hit it? No, it's gonna be something weird. Let's be safe because I need to have some guidance here. I need a lot more help. I'm gonna go with a Honda Civic EX.
Yeah. Okay. It is not the Honda Civic EX. Based upon the type copy here, it's certainly more sporting than a Civic EX.
Sure.
It is not a Honda Civic,
right,
or a Honda Civic EX.
Figured as much.
How can I give you a hint here?
Can I get the drivetrain layout?
Front.
So front engine, front wheel drive.
Yes.
1.7.
1.7. The engine thrives where others don't dare venture from 6,500 to 8,000 RPM. Yet there's no compromise of torque in the low end. Which
it doesn't have torque. It doesn't have torque.
Yeah.
Why do I feel like I'm missing something obvious here? I can't think of anything Mazda. Mazda was big with 1.6 and 1.8. 1.7. Maybe it is something. I'm really weak on the European stuff. We talking about? Yeah. Why did I want to say Alfa Romeo at the beginning? Because I feel like I had a 1.7 in one of those.
I guess there are a fair amount of front drive. This vehicle was absolutely unequivocally sold, and it says so. Allowing the blank to produce over 94 horsepower per liter, more than any other normally aspirated automobile sold in the United States. So this is a North American product,
but not built in North America.
Correct, but this was sold in North America.
Boy, dude.
And I know you've seen one of these.
What a weird engine.
It is.
Front wheel drive front engine, 1.7. 8,000 RPM though. That's pretty revvy.
It's pretty happy, yeah.
Where
other engines don't dare.
They sold them in the U.S.
They did.
And I think high revving, and I think of way too big for a rotary.
Yeah. I don't know. Did they ever do a rotary in a front drive application?
Didn't they have some? Not in Japan. I think there were a couple.
Yeah, this is North America.
North America only.
What's our timer looking at? What are we at?
We got 5:16 left.
Okay, so we're halfway.
Push
it to the limit.
God, dude, this is tough. 1.7.
1.7.
That's some high revving. I want to say, I want to think like like an MR2 or something, but that wasn't even close.
Front, baby, front.
Yeah, nothing like that. Frank, you're killing me. I have no idea. I'm fucking blanking on this 1.7.
Boy. How about I'll give you a
Dover cam 16 valve.
1.7.
Nothing. I've got nothing. I'm
Variable valve timing and lift system.
Sure.
Shared with some other Halo performance car. Of the time.
You know what? We could be in Honda land. I don't think it's a Civic. I feel like kind of dumb. Well, they didn't. Did they have 1.7? The Integra didn't have a 1.7, did it? I don't think Honda really. God, let's go Acura. No, it could be a Prelude though. No, not 80,000. Honda. Let's go with Acura Integra GSR.
of an Acura GSR.
How was I missing this, dude?
That's the second gen Integra.
God.
The original GSR.
Yes.
Was not the 1.8. Not the B18. Was it the
1.7.
B18B? Was it B18 B3 or B18C? Whatever it is.
God.
Here it is.
Yeah. Oh God, dude. These are so rare.
I want one of these so bad.
These are so rare, though.
They're super rare.
So they only made.
I think they made fewer of these than NSXs.
Correct.
And that's what all
rare.
of this is. So like, then we added
That's why I was
VTEC,
forgetting.
which had the plane cap.
Of
The
course.
same variable valve time lift system found in the NSX, and that's what it kept comparing when they said, cars like the Acura NSX, and then
This had a very low production number, like from the get go.
and 2 or 3 year production.
That's
run?
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like just 92 and 93, or maybe 91, 92, 93.
Yep.
I've wanted one of these for a very long time.
Oh, me too,
I
same.
think, 160 horsepower?
It was insane.
Like
was it?
no torque.
155, 160.
Despite what this might says, it's like 118 pound-feet of torque or something.
Which is good for like a Honda engine at the time, right? Like most of them had like 60.
What a sharp-looking car, though.
God, good looking car too.
And I don't know the last time I've seen a stock second-gen Integra GSR, because they were only in the coupes. I think they only made them in like white and red and black or something like that. Like
Yep.
they were very limited color palette. Maybe I think you can get them in that teal color.
Super
but I
rare
think that's
car.
it.
Super rare car.
I want one.
What a great, want factor is high. I think those actually fetch a huge
Yes.
amount of money right now.
Yes, yeah. Should we do the live
See if
let's
there's
see,
any running.
Integra GSR?
Dude, apologies for everyone listening. That was like, Howard, does he not remember the second gen? Because everybody, the
People are sitting there
1.8s.
screaming at their.
Well, the 1.8s were like, how many 1.8s did they build?
Okay, here's a 92 that went on Cars and Bids. It ran no reserve. It's Florida, so tread lightly.
Yeah.
168,000 miles, and it went for 18 grand.
So much money.
It's white. It's got the.
Oh, God,
those are not
they
the
look
original
good.
wheels. Those are the Integra, the third gen Integra.
Yeah.
Fat 5 wheels.
God, it looks
160 horsepower and 117 pound-feet of torque.
good. Good numbers.
Yeah, out
For
of
that
1.7.
year.
Less than 5,000 units of the GSR would produce in between 92 and 93, so only 2 years.
So
between this and
2,500
before the
per
third.
year. That's
Yeah,
a very
roughly,
low
but
production
less
number.
less than 5,000.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's a very low production.
and I guarantee they made more than 5,000 first-gen NSXs.
100% they did.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool
Things
car,
to look
dude.
out for.
Good
I know.
find. Well, yeah, I've been looking at those for a long time, dude.
I know. Good luck. Good luck
Yeah,
finding one.
yeah,
That's
and
why.
if you do-
That's why this one with almost 170K went for freaking almost 20 grand.
Good luck bankrolling one when you do find one.
I know, right? And that was early in the year. That was beginning of 22. So I think it's a fair market assessment for now. Holy crap! This 97 GSR sedan went for $20,000. Why did that happen?
And we're not going to look at those anymore.
I know, $101,000, 101,000 miles. So it
Yeesh.
wasn't even hyper low mileage. Anyways, I'm going to close this.
Yeah, let's
So I
celebrate
stopped
my
looking at it.
second round guess win with a little bit of PCP, my friend.
We should.
We gotta
let's
wrap
do-
this
let's
up
do-
pretty soon here.
Yeah, every time.
Do you want to lead this dance this time? I think I kicked it off last time.
I suppose I shall. I guess where I am at with my project car progress is, per usual, a step in the wrong direction.
Womp womp.
And by that I mean I kind of sort of have my eyes on another filly on the other end of the bar.
Ooh.
I might
Is she
no longer
German?
be.
I think she's German.
She's German.
She dyes her hair minty green.
She's edgy, but docile.
Yeah,
she's
that's good.
she's approachable.
Can be housebroken.
So as y'alls might know, I do indeed. I am the owner of a Porsche. I've got a 1982 924 Turbo, and I've been gearing up to sell slowly but surely over the course of this year. And it's really getting to it's becoming fire sale status with this what I got around the house. The Sienna is going to go live on Cars and Bids probably in the next few weeks.
Nice.
I've got my 41 Chevy truck that I'm going to get listed for sale relatively soon. I'm going to be gearing up this 924 Turbo to be sold. However, my good people, my car donation client, they got in themselves a 1982 Porsche 924, non-turbo, and I have impure thoughts with this car.
She's pretty too. It's really
It's
clean
pretty.
car.
It's
For what it is.
it's clean. However, it's not without fault, which is why it draws me. I'm the broken ones are the ones that bring me in.
Yeah, we got to fix them.
Captain Save a Car. And so This car is a 1982 924 NA 5-speed manual, one owner, who somebody's in control of her estate because she's no longer of the right mental capacity, so to speak, to be able to process her affairs, and that includes driving and owning and taking care of this vehicle.
Yeah.
So her family has moved it on, and they have donated it to a charity. Hasn't run in like 18 months. The keys are missing, but it seems visually at a cursory glance, it seems mechanically very tight. It seems like it was very well maintained, and it seems like it was genuinely well cared for. It's got 135,000 miles. It's a metallic, but it's had a full repaint.
Yeah.
And it's got a salvage title, which is probably why it's had a full repaint. However, the full repaint looks like it was done very well and very professionally.
Yeah, very nice.
Like de-trimmed and all that. The only reason you would know, like they did the jams.
Jams
They
are done,
undersided the hood, like, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe the hood's been replaced. Maybe that's why it's got a salvage title. Long story short is it needs a little bit of love, but it's very clean. It's got the original window sticker in it and everything.
Super cool, yeah.
And because I'm going to be selling my 924 Turbo, and I had already in a moment of weakness bought a Safari lift kit for my 924, which never got utilized, and I'm not going to put it on that car. I now want to buy this NA car, throw the Safari kit on it, do a Safari build, and again,
I'm on board. I'm 100% on board for this.
I think it's a good idea. However, it's a terrible idea, and it's also very much the opposite of progress.
Agreed.
So with that said, I'm going to go cry myself in the corner and judge myself and how I'm poorly making choices about and involving my life, and turn the helm over to you. What are you up to?
Isn't
What's
that
your
what they
progress?
say, Frank? Like when life gets rid of one Porsche, another one enters your life.
It's very similar to that. I think that's
some cosmic stuff there.
That's Sun Tzu or
with the art of Porsche war.
Exactly.
PCP for me this past week was all about the Forester XT, my 04 Forester XT manual. Timing belt water pump job, which is so approachable for rookie mechanics like myself.
That's right.
Just kidding, I'm a timing belt veteran at this point. Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
The valve cover spark plug job, however, not as easy.
Not fun on those cars.
Yeah, horribly inaccessible. Pain in the butt, real pain in the butt.
The lead singer of In Excess, autoerotic asphyxiation got him, right?
Yeah, well, at least it wasn't a valve cover.
Is that what you meant by inaccessible? Like
Yeah,
you're just gonna
I totally meant.
find you swinging from the
I
rafters
knew we were
here?
gonna to the extreme was no.
No,
okay,
To the
like-
Extreme. Who did To the Extreme? I think there's a band called To the Extreme.
I think so. I'm missing things up. Same time period.
Extra.
Okay,
yeah,
not
sorry.
that one. Okay.
Anyways.
So I did that, but I replaced all the gaskets while I was under there. Pulleys and tensioners. I bought the full ACEN 08. For some reason, this is what you do with a 200,000 mile
Oh, you
Subaru.
put the right stuff
all
on it.
OEM.
Yeah.
Everything I've done is gaskets, fluids, everything are going to be OEM. All the tensioners, pulleys, timing belt guides. They have like timing belt guides over each cam, which is kind of cool. Like, so when you get the timing belt stretched over a cam, you put this guide in, it kind of holds it.
Is that the grenade pin style?
That's the tensioner. The tensioner is like
yeah,
that.
okay.
But they have these metal guides that make sure the belt doesn't kick off when you stall the car.
Got
and
it.
ruin the
Smart.
entire engine.
Oops.
But it kind of keeps the belt from sliding. But really hard getting over that last cam. Got it all done. A lot of people online, every single like that engine timing belt job, skip the film cuts out and it shows it on, so you know they wrestled with it. But
So your
that's
video's
all,
like 2 hours long, and
yeah,
it's like
mine's the only one that
it's
shows
like
me
it's like
stretching a
87
timing
minutes
belt.
of you just grunting and trying to get the time belt over it.
Exactly. So I got that all done. That last cam was a nightmare, but we got a lot more work to do. But
Yes, we can.
big progress. Yeah, we shortened the cam. But that's it. Forester XT was my PCP this week.
Robert Carradine.
Yeah, I just watched
He
Kill
also
Bill.
he also
David
auto-
Carradine.
Sorry, I don't know if it's Robert Carradine. David
he
Carradine.
probably did too.
Yeah, they're all.
There's one of them.
Yeah, they found him in a closet. I think he was choking more than himself. Well, I guess doubly
The
himself.
Kung Fu, the legend didn't continue.
Exactly. Yeah.
Too
Legend
soon.
continues. Anyways,
Bill.
thanks for hanging out. Thanks for
Yeah,
putting
thanks,
up with our
guys.
nonsense and continuing to at least support us with your listenership. So
Yeah.
that is very much appreciated. I'm Frank, and you can find me at The Photographer's Garage on YouTube, Instagram, Friendster, if that's still around. How about you, Chadwick? Where are you at?
Also on Friendster as the Auto Obsessive Garage. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram as well.
And on the streets.
Yes, in the sheets too.
That too. That's
Occasionally.
right.
Together we are APA Podcast, another Pointless Automotive Podcast.
Quite pointless.
And look forward to seeing you guys next week.
That's right.
As always, thank you and take
Bye.
care.
I can't think of anyone else who's autoerotic asphyxiated themselves to death.
There's probably a few people.
There's definitely... Wasn't there like some comedian...
I don't know who Robert Carradine is, but we were watching.
Right.